2004, CDRC launched a project strengthening flood preparedness and building resources towards disaster-resilient communities. It was funded by Caritas Switzerland and the Swiss Solidarity Chain. The project aimed to develop long-term disaster risk reduction systems through community-based disaster risk management. The targets were high-risk communities within 6 to 8 kilometers of the crater of Mayon volcano. True enough, just after its completion, nature gave the project its toughest challenge. 3 major natural disasters, one after the other, devastated the communities within a span of 4 months. The eruption of Mayon volcano in August 2006 and the onslaught of Typhoon Milenio and Reming in September and November of the same year. The catastrophe that ensued was unprecedented in recent history. Lives were lost and damage to livelihood and infrastructure were similarly staggering. But the project paid off. Despite the magnitude of the 3 natural disasters, the communities endured, largely because of the fortitude they gained from the project. In a report submitted to Caritas Switzerland, a third-party evaluator attributed the relatively lesser impact of the disaster in the target areas to the success of the project. The report affirmed the relevance of the project to these communities. The evaluation report recommended a new follow-up project. This would include new communities, new components, and a longer time frame. It was from this context that the Continuity project was developed. Thus, the current project was implemented, aimed at decreasing the vulnerability of 8 communities in the province of Albay through time-tested community-based disaster management programs and services of TABI and CDRC.
The project had 3 main objectives. First, to reduce the risk of flood-prone areas in the 8 communities. This was done by placing flood control measures in at-risk communities. Particularly, tree planting initiatives were conducted to restore the denuded forest along the foot of Mayon, as well as along the riverbanks and potential flood path areas within the communities. Support activities included trainings on forest management, nursery development, and seedling propagation of hardwood and fruit trees. These were done to provide the communities with stock seedlings and technical knowledge needed to sustain the project. Community mobilizations and dialogue with local government units were also conducted to engage a wider network to participate. Another objective was to build sustainable livelihood for the most vulnerable sectors. This meant ensuring that their sources of living are minimally affected when a disaster strikes in their communities. Farmer beneficiaries were provided with farm tools and work animals to boost their crop production. Disaster-resistant crops like yam, gabi, cassava, and kamote were also introduced and promoted as alternative sources of food and income in case regular crops were damaged by disasters. Skills trainings, field demonstrations, and education forums on sustainable agriculture were also held to encourage the communities to follow agricultural practices that are environment-friendly and more cost-efficient. Initial capitalization of alternative livelihood were also given to qualified families to better minimize the effects of disasters. Lastly, we intended to develop the capability of communities to respond to pre, during, and post-disaster situations. This starts from a better informed and more involved community on disaster management. Community organizing was done to facilitate trainings and information dissemination aimed at raising awareness and knowledge in the communities necessary to better respond to disasters. Educational forums and trainings included disaster management orientations, disaster preparedness trainings, emergency response management, and disaster information system and advocacy. A radio program was also launched which became a venue for the communities to discuss relevant disaster management issues.
Project monitoring was facilitated by TABI, which conducted monthly meetings and project assessments in each of the 8 communities. Meanwhile, through its project management group, CDRC oversaw quarterly monitoring of the entire project meant to identify the problems and to propose solutions. Progress reports were then sent to Caritas Switzerland as part of the project output. Over the course of 3 years, the project has certainly changed the landscape around Mayon and affected the lives of the people in its communities. Its impact on the environment with regard to disaster mitigation has clearly been acknowledged by the people who are most at risk.
Tulong sa amin na makaprevent ng flood control dahil nga ang aming barangay ay nasa risk na ng baha, wala kaming dike. Ito lang ang nasa Mayon unit sa barangay na walang dike. Kaya nagpasa na rin ako ng resolusyon sa Malacanang ng 2000 pa. Hanggang ngayon wala pa rin. Kaya ito ang pinaka magandang pamaraan para maiwasan at ma-control ang baha dito sa aming barangay.
At the organizational level, the project has initiated partnerships with local government units in its campaign for disaster risk reduction.
So kung kikitunta po sa ang koneksyon sa TABI sa konseho, magpuunong ang TABI mag-launch ng activity sa barangay. Kadakulo pong katabangan sa parte sa konseho, lalo na dito sa disaster preparedness na pinagagibusan barangay para mamantinarta sa disaster risk reduction na yung mga ni ang target sa barangay na magkaayo ning zero casualty pag abot ng kalamidad. So kung kikitunta po ang koordinasyon, ang pag-iba sa duwang ahensya kan TABI sa barangay, dakulo pong bagay adi para padagos ta na makuha o maukudan ang tamang paagi, hindi lamang po sa pagmaniobra para sa preparasyon pag-abot ng kalamidad, kundi para sa pang-ural daw na pagkabuhay. So in general, kung kikitunta po ang sitwasyon, nagiging dalam po adi para mas lalo magpursige ang mga konstituente in at the same time ang sa atin na mga konseho tanganing padagos na suportaran ang programa sa TABI.
Improvements in resource management and food security were also felt down to the grassroots like Mang Jose and Aling Gloria.
Inot, nung pagkatapos nga nga ni, igaw kami ng pagkiklinik, hindi sa center, kada first Saturday of the month, ang trabaho. Pagkatapos na, so iyo padagos manggiraray, na nagpataw ng mga edukasyon sa mga tao, nagbibisita man kuminsan sa mga harong-harong, kasi padagos manggiraray na pinapangalagaan niya mo yung mga herbal, na yun nga ang ginagamit sa pagkiklinik, harutan mga lagundi o iba pang mga produkto. Tanganing igo kami nga inaano diyan sa center, tinatao sa mga pasyente. Pero ang bulan to, anong nabulan ko sa training niya? Kay Basasua, Tumpa, Manila. Katapos, hindi kami sa mabalog nagtapos na pero pito nga ni so judges mikan kami mag-ano na ito tapos hindi. Kung wala kaming training kaya, siyempre, hindi man kami kaya ito makapagibo. Kaya ako lang kaumahan talaga itong na-training dito ang TABI.
Dakulang bagay, importante sa parauma. Halimbawa, para sa dahil unang-una, itong manunungod naman sa pag-ibok ang composting, organic fertilizer, imbis na mag-order kita kitong nag-aali pa sa ibang bansa, dito na sa natural. Samantalang, ang kapital lamang diyan, sakripisyo. Itong mga materialis, yawan man sa nagiging sa palibot-libot. Yan. Kulang bagay po yan. Siyempre, yan, pinaghahandaan kasi itong maabot na pangyayaring mga disaster o kalamidad kung ano, bago man siya mag-aabot, halimbawa, nakapreparar. Dakulang bagay po yan. Saka, dakol na bagay ang nanodang kan taga komunidad din sa barangay Tandarora sa pagtatanong sa mga pagbubulong dahil hindi man lang kinukuha imbis na magbakal kita itong mga bulong sa butika yaon man sa nadibi bayo pang sa dipi kaya na ko lang bagayan sa tukdo ng staff ng TABI.
This project would not have been possible without the support of the peoples of Switzerland and Luxembourg. We would like to thank Caritas Switzerland for facilitating this project, together with Swiss Solidarity, Caritas Luxembourg, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Luxembourg.